Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Kristina Moyor and this is Kristina Moyor Art for all things two-dimensional fine art. Alright, so today's video is all about varnishing. So we're going to focus in on varnishing acrylic painting. So this could be on a canvas or a board, maybe even paper. I haven't tried it on paper, but it probably would work. But I'm going to focus on acrylic on canvas. So if you paint with acrylic on canvas and you want to know what you should be using to give it that protective coating on top, then keep watching. All right, let's start with the why. Why should you use a varnish? I'm going to tell you quick by using some examples. So this one doesn't have varnish. And then let's take a look with one that does have varnish. So right away you probably notice the shine, kind of that glare. So I don't like glare personally, but what's nice about the varnish is it's protecting it. So when I touch, I'm not worried about any oil marks, that kind of thing, because I can wipe this down with a damp cloth and it's protected. It also intensifies the colors, and especially when you have these contrasting colors like the dark silhouetted trees, it really intensifies those dark areas of the painting. So this one actually doesn't have any varnish, but what I want to show you on this one is how some of it I've used a gel medium to add sparkling effect. Almost like how snow or water has that kind of sparkle on it. And that's what I've done here. If you can kind of see it from this, let's see. I'm just going to move it, turn it like that. And then this large one is ready to varnish. It's been well over a month, I believe, since I finished it. And so it's definitely cured and ready to be varnished, but you can see when I turn it, you don't really have that glare. Now there still is some glare happening, but not really. You get, all the details are still there. Now you don't have to use a shiny varnish. You can use one that's a matte finish. So that's perfectly fine too. I just like, especially with my seascapes, I do a lot of seascapes. I like to use the varnish to get that a shiny one that has a bit of a glossy look, even if it's just a satin, which has less shine than the glossy or semi-glossy. So isn't that fun? It looks like when you look at water, it creates that effect anyway. So I love that my painting has that element of reality in it. And after a lot of research on YouTube mostly and in the internet, I decided to try the polycrylic. It seemed like a really good product. I'm going to use the clear gloss and the clear satin today. And I think there's some other types you can get as well. I have the semi-glossy, and you can decide which one you like through my example. So let's get started with some grooving and some stretching, so our bodies can be limber as we will be stretching across a large canvas. And just because I'm listening to music and I'm a little bit goofy, so yeah. Okay, I'm starting with the clear gloss. It's a Minwax Polycrylic product. You can find it here at Lowe's. So here I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Also, I opened the window because it does have a scent to it. There is some fumes that you don't really want to be breathing too much of. So I have a clear container, and it's a plastic container because this won't stick to that. And then I've got some gloves for protection for my skin. I'm not going to be splashing this around, so I don't feel like I need any eye protection for this. And then we're going to pour, and I have a brush on hand. And now I only use this brush for varnishing. I think that's important because you don't want to use a brush that you've used color and then possibly get that color onto your varnish. You don't want that. Close the lid and get your painting ready. Brush your painting with a clean brush, and you have to do that dance also. Okay, I'm going to start at one end, and I'm going to brush just back and forth, making sure I'm overlapping a little bit as I go, but don't go backwards. Once you've hit up an area, just keep moving forward. You can always do a second coat, so don't go back. It's kind of like when you're painting your nails, you don't want to paint, oh, I made a mistake, or you don't go back because it's already getting tacky. It dries kind of quickly, and it just gets, you're just going to mess with it. You don't want to do that. So Just keep moving forward, and if you need to do a second coat or a third coat, go for it. So I'm going across, and I'm not worrying about my edges at this point, but I'm moving quickly, super fast, thanks to technology. Okay, so covering it as I go, and I am trying to cover it the best I can, giving it an even layer. I'm, not putting way too much on. I'm trying to make it kind of a thin layer. Make sure it's nice and even as well, the best I can. Then I'm going to hit up the edges. So I'm going to go around and I'm bringing my brush upward. And I'm catching the drips as well, because it will drip off to the side. And sometimes I've seen artists keep those drips on the side, and that's totally up to you what you want to do. I like to have a cleaner edge, and I think it just works with my aesthetic of paint, my style. Okay, and I've got a secondary one. So I like to wait till I have a few pieces that need varnishing before I have a varnishing day. And I usually do it over the course of 2 days because I want to let them dry really well overnight. And I don't like to be sitting in the studio while the fumes are all in there. So I'll varnish and then I'll go work on something else. Now I only poured that back in because I felt like it was not contaminated by any color. Closing it tight. Now I did a quick wash and we're on to the satin. Now I did wash my brush really well, and I washed that container really well too. I don't want that to get gunked up with varnish. Okay, I'm going to pour that in. I don't use a separate one for, like a separate brush and container for my varnish. I use the same one. I only use the Minwax product at this point, so I don't feel the need to do a separate one because I clean it really well. Okay, so again, same method. I'm going that back and forth motion, covering the whole front of the piece in a nice thin layer. Then I'm hitting up the edges. It's really not that hard to do. I mean, if you're nervous about it, I understand. It's a little bit scary, but make sure your painting is just fully dry. And here we go. The next day, you can see the satin finish, and then I'm just going to show you a little bit the clear gloss. Now I'm going to show you some areas that it kind of didn't stick, so you could kind of see in the picture there were some that needs an extra coat, so we're going to do another layer. So what I was saying, if you're kind of nervous about it, don't worry. Try it on something else that you're not really worried about first. That's what I would suggest. They say like do a tester. Yeah, go for it. Do a tester. That's really a good idea. So I'm going to do the clear gloss again. I felt like my satin one did a really good coat and I was really happy with it. So I didn't need to do a second coat of that one. Now there's also spray varnishes, and maybe in the future I'll do a video where I compare different types of varnishes so you can kind of see. I know there are people that have some videos like that so you can see the outcome. One thing, and I've watched a lot of those, and one of the things I loved about this polycrylic was it doesn't turn out cloudy. There are some varnishes that will be a little cloudy to finish. And when you're actually painting, you're thinking, oh no, it's going to be cloudy. Don't worry, it will dry clear, fully clear. Like, it's really good product. And it actually does a really good job of doing an even coat where you don't see the brush strokes. So I'm really happy with it. If you're using cheaper paint, I would definitely suggest using the spray varnish, because this I am rubbing against my paint now with the brush. So if it's not a nice, good solid paint that's going to not react to water, then you're fine with a brush. But if it is, then you might want to consider the spray if you need to do a varnish. All right, so at the end, I just want to show you a quick view of what it looks like once it's dry, because while it's wet, it's a little bit hard to tell what it's going to look like. It'll look a little different. So this guy here, you can see the satin varnish finish with this Minwax Polycrylic. This one I also used a Minwax Polycrylic, but this one is a glossy, so you can see the different finishes between satin and glossy. All right, I hope that helped you, and thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about varnishing, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more two-dimensional art tips, tricks, and fun. Until next time, have a great day, have a great weekend, whatever time of day you're watching this. Have a wonderful next few 24 hours. All right, thank you so much. Till next time, bye-bye now.